Hello everyone, welcome to another Power BI related tutorial for data analysis. In this tutorial, you will learn how to connect Power BI with Microsoft SQL Server database. So we are using SQL Server Management Studio, and using SQL Server Management Studio, we have created a sample database. We have named this sample database as Hospital DB. In this hospital DB, we have tables. So a query to create this complete database will be shared in the description of this video. So if you want to connect with this particular database, you can connect it. You must have SQL Server Management Studio installed along with SQL Server Express. Then only you will be able to create this video. If you want to learn how to create a SQL Server Management Studio database from scratch, a link in the description will be provided. In that video, I have explained how to install SQL Server Management Studio and how to create a sample database in SQL Server Management Studio. Now in SQL Server, once we have a database, we have these three tables. One table is patient, so we can view records in this table. We have inserted some dummy records here. Then we have doctors, so we will select again 10,000 rows for doctors, and you can see three doctor records are there. And then with these three patients and three doctors, we have made three appointments. So in this table, we have foreign keys patient ID and foreign key doctor ID, which simply represents a relationship between these tables. So these tables are related with the help of foreign key. Now to get started, open Power BI desktop. Our version is latest to December 2023. You might have a different version of Power BI. In different versions, these visualizations appear at different places. In some cases, they appear here in Insert. Now let's go to the Home, and here you will click on Get Data, or you can directly see Import Data from SQL Server. So I will import data from SQL Server, and here we have to write the name of our server. So sorry for the noise. Now here you can see we have information of server, and in server you have to put the name of your server, obviously. So at the time of installation, what I did, at the time of installation of SQL Server Management Studio, I wrote down these credentials. So in my case, the server is localhost slash SQL Express 01. In your case, it can be SQL Express. So when we install SQL Server Management Studio, along with SQL Server Management Studio, we also install SQL Server Express, which creates an instance of the server at this particular address. Suppose you want to connect to a remote SQL server. In that case, you have to provide the IP address of that. And sometimes you will need IP address along with port number also. So in our case, we are connecting with a local SQL Server database. That's why we are going to use this particular instance, and this must come from the administrator of your computer, or administrator of the database will provide you this information. Here I will write my SQL Server address. And here it is asking us for data connectivity mode. So either import or direct query. It has some advanced options also. What I am going to do is I will leave all other settings as it is, and I will simply click, after import I will click OK. It is asking use your Windows credentials to access this database. So because my database is on Windows authentication, so let me show you one simple thing. I will close SQL Server Management Studio. I don't want to save these queries. And then I will again open SQL Server Management Studio. So when you open SQL Server Management Studio, based on the settings with which you have installed, you will see this option. So sometimes this server name will work. So when you open SQL Server Management Studio, your server name is written here. I'm using a Windows authentication, and then when I will click connect, so you can see with the help of SQL Server Management Studio, I can log into my SQL Server databases. So I will use my current credentials and connect. And it says we were unable to connect the data source using an encrypted connect. To access this data using and click OK. So let's click OK here. And here you will see, yep. Now you can see I am inside my localhost and SQL Server Express 01 instance. I have this database, and either I can connect one table or I can select all of these tables and then load. So it is creating the connection in model for appointments, doctors and patients table. And now you can see we have appointments, doctors and patients here. Let's see, we want to see name of all doctors here. So I will select doctor ID, first name, last name, phone number, whatever, and you will see a table here. I will click this icon to go into focus mode so that we can see it more clearly. And this. Now there is an interesting thing that we can do here. So when you open your database, expand your database and tables. So in my case, there is a table called appointments, and this appointment table has foreign keys. So patient ID and doctor ID are foreign keys. That means this patient ID belongs to the patient's table. So patient 1 is John Doe, and if I click here, that means John Doe has booked an appointment with, let's select the doctor ID 2. Doctor ID 2 is Dr. Michael Jones. So this simply means John Doe has booked an appointment with Michael Jones on this particular date. But suppose we want to show those names here. We want to show John here. We want to show Dr. Michael here. So let's do it. Obviously, we can write an SQL query to join these tables, but we can also do it with Power BI. So what we are going to do is, from doctors table, we will just select the first name. From patients table, we will select the first name. And from appointments table, we will select appointment ID and appointment date. You see, now without even writing any join SQL query, you can see this data. Let's show as a table. So here you can see that Robert, which is patient, has booked an appointment with Dr. Emily. Again, here you can see. So in our case, it was date, appointment date. Its data type was date time. How can I tell? You can go to your table and you can go to design. When you will go to design, you can see that data type for appointment date is date time. What it has done is, what Power BI has done is, it has kind of segmented that date into year, quarter, month, and day. So this is the basic example of how you can connect a database, how you can connect a SQL Server database with Power BI. This example is for absolute beginners. I know here we have these names and everything. First name in doctor is common, first name in patient is common. So in later parts, we will also discuss about how we can change these names, how we can change the appearance and everything. The main purpose of this video was just to show you how to make a connection, and in our case the database was in localhost. Thanks for watching this video. Please subscribe to our channel. Our channel produces various videos related to Power BI, SQL Server, SQL, and data science in particular. You will find a lot of useful videos for your career.